Hey everyone, it's Dabacabb here, and I am back with this week's Brawl, which is overly defensive. Everyone has to play a defensive character, and you cannot have more than 2 of one character on a team. So I'm going to be playing Torbjorn. Just a fair warning, I don't play a lot of Torbjorn, so I make some kind of crappy plays. Now, you might think that this game mode is overly prioritized towards defenders and the defending team has an advantage, and you'd be right. The defenders, in my experience, do definitely have the advantage in this game mode. However, the advantage isn't so overwhelming that the attackers don't have a chance, especially if the defenders can somehow punch through that first fortification. If they manage that, then the defending team can actually have a little bit of trouble getting set up again. This is going to be the theme of this video, by the way, is Dabacabb gets tempted into getting scrap and dies for it. I played Torbjorn before and I didn't have that much trouble getting scrap, so I sort of played under that old assumption. But what I came to realize is that against this team, this defensively focused team with Hanzo and Torbjorn and Mei, going to get scrap is a fucking death trap, man. It will murder you. I sort of realized that halfway through and decided, fuck it, I'm going to do it anyways because we were doing so well. So yeah, this is what I mean. Like, they punched through us because the Meis got close with their walls and their ice blocks. And then there's just not really a whole lot the defenders can do because the defenders typically rely on the attackers to come to them, not the other way around. So they're a little bit weak in this scenario where they try and take back a point. So got 8 minutes to go to defend the second point. Not a great position to be in, but this is the trouble with this game mode, is you don't really have like a tank to initiate, or you don't have attackers to get into those hard to reach places. So what ends up happening is you'll just develop these walls that the defending team just can't come close to breaching. That's kind of what happens here. They got this, like, the turret here, and basically the only person who can really hurt the turret is the Junkrat. And the Junkrats I'm playing against just kind of ignore it. They don't go down to a position at the bottom part of the map and lob grenades up into the position of the turret, which is what I would have tried to do. I actually feel like Torbjorn is the hero of this game mode. I thought it would be Mei, because Mei to me feels the least like the other defenders in that she's got a lot of health and she's up close in sort of melee range, and everyone else is very, very long range. So I sort of expected her, by virtue of her uniqueness, to be like an MVP in most of the matches. But I actually discovered, I feel like, that Junkrat was the MVP because, number one, Junkrat is a strong counter to... I totally lost track of what I'm looking here. Junkrat is a strong counter to Torbjorn and Bastion. He is one of the few people who can reliably deal damage against a sniper. I mean, he's not like super great at it, but he can lob grenades up and into high vantage points, which Mei is not super good at. Bastion is super weak to it. Torbjorn can't do it very well. Hanzo and Widowmaker are just sniping duels. So Junkrat, if he gets the position right, can really make it difficult for snipers to prevail. And he's also got the concussion mine, which allows him to climb up to high points. These snipers are pretty good on the enemy team, unfortunately. And no one else can do that, really. I mean, Widowmaker can, Hanzo can, but like if you're an attacker and you want to get to the Widowmaker and the Hanzo on the enemy team, like it's really hard to do. Mei can do the wall jump, but that's not super high. Torbjorn can't do anything, and Hanzo and Widowmaker don't want to be close to them. So that really leaves Torbjorn. Torbjorn's like the only person who can breach into enemy defenses with high speed, high mobility. So he's not the best at anything, or I'm sorry, he's not the best at everything by any means, but he does enough unique things in this game mode that I felt like he was probably the most valuable hero to be. Obviously, having a really good Widowmaker on your team, like these opponents have, helps a lot. because defenders tend to be pretty slow and pretty easy targets. So Torbjorn and Junkrat are easy pickings for Widowmaker. And I kind of learned that going forward and getting this these scrap, that I'm trying to do right now is usually not a good idea. But like that's what happens with the Hanzo. The Hanzo tries to go forward. This is total ninja Torbjorn right here. Check this out. Like they try and go forward, and because the defenders rely so much on setting up and having really good sight lines, that they just have so much trouble breaking into the defenses. They need like a really reliable defensive character to breach the point and charge in. So that felt very lacking to me when I was playing attack. Man, these Widowmakers, the scrap was not worth it, man. Oh man, this game mode is interesting. It makes you use skills that you normally wouldn't. You have to attack with Hanzo or Widowmaker, which you typically don't always do. And it forces you to play in a very unusual way. So it's worth checking out, definitely. Way better than the Soldier game mode. Though sometimes you just end up in situations like this where it's just like they haven't even gotten really close. There was one time where they almost got 1 point, and that kind of like got nipped in the bud, and that was that. So this is kind of how this match goes, is they hit a brick wall of not being able to do anything. The problem is they can't really get to my turret. Like snipers are a reliable counter to Torbjorn's turret, but this turret requires, or the positioning of it requires close range counter. So the only people who are going to be good at that are Mei, but a Mei trading with a turret close range is not ideal by any means. Or like Bastion. Bastion could hop around the corner and switch into siege mode and turret it down really quickly. But he's been trying to come in on the right most of this game, and just with my left clicks and right clicks, I'm doing a pretty good job of stopping him, because that's not really how Bastion wants to play. He wants to be already set up by the time the fight starts. So this like forward Bastion strategy is tough to pull off. Here I don't know where he went. I think he was ahead of me actually, and the Junkrat launched him over my head, and I just totally didn't see. But yeah, shotgun blast, half of his health. I want that scrap, but I've learned my lesson. The Widowmakers have punished me enough that I know that going over there and dying just to get 25 scrap is not really worth it. And I kind of feel like these Widowmakers at this point should switch off. They're staying back in the back, and their team's just not doing anything. I guess this is what happens when you have too many snipers on the team. They need to just group up, come in all on one side, and try and burn through the defenses. But this like 2 people moving forward and everyone else sniping from the back is not working at all. So the Bastion finally gets close enough to try this strategy, which I said he should try. But because he only had support from one teammate, he failed. He almost got me from Molten Core. And if he had support, he probably could have gotten the turret too. But it was just the Mei, the Bastion, and this Widowmaker, who I think showed up to the party too late for it to really be useful. So it's just, I don't know, man. You got to be coordinated. You can't have the snipers back in the back sniping and 2 or 3 people doing the assaults and the tank's job and expect to win, because it's just going to be fragmented and the assault is going to get squished, because three defenders can't come into 6 defenders and expect to do well. It's just not really going to work. So my turret has been kicking ass. It hasn't even gotten close to dying once. You see, here's this Junkrat. He's launching grenades over the walls, and if he was smart, he would try and find a position where he could get the turret. By now, he should know, either from seeing it himself or from his teammates, where my turret is. So he should like go over to like basically behind Braham right now on the other side of that bridge, down on the ground, and try and lob grenades up into. Yeah, I knew there was a Mei behind me, but I figured she probably had higher health and a ice block, so I was trying to press my luck and kill the Widowmaker. I didn't think there was any chance of me getting the Mei in that situation. But yeah, the fight is over because, I mean, what are they going to do? They need a tank to take damage and initiate. They need an assault to get behind enemy lines and deal with turrets and pick off squishy targets. But in a situation like that, it's tough, man. It just favors the defender too much. So overall, it's a pretty fun game mode. I definitely recommend trying it out. Hopefully you get a map that doesn't overly favor the defender. I feel like Volskaya, Temple of Anubis, those other defense maps are a little bit overly tuned towards the defenders. So anyways, that is this week's Brawl. Dabacabb out.